welcome back to the channel, and today I've got something pretty exciting for me, at least, is one of my Grail watches. So the Seiko Marinemaster, the SLA023. So I've been eyeing this watch for quite a while, kind of just held back due to probably two concerns. One, the cost. Obviously these aren't cheap, but then also the size was always kind of worrisome to me that it might just be a little too big for me. So what I actually ended up doing is buying the San Martin kind of homage of this watch just to kind of feel out the size, and I found out it actually wasn't too bad, so I decided to finally pull the trigger. And this is an awesome watch. You got to be a Seiko fan, I think, to appreciate it, because it's not your typical, Omega, Rolex, Breitling kind of high-end Swiss watches. So this is kind of an expensive Seiko, but it is kind of the king of the hill on the Seiko line. I think there is actually, there's one, I think there's like a higher Seiko that's got the spring drive movement, but outside of that one, this is kind of like the kind of the top tier Seiko. This is like kind of like your stepping stone or your gateway into the Grand Seiko family, because this has a Grand Seiko movement. But looking at this watch, my first kind of initial impressions is it is, it's heavy, not like super heavy, but it is heavy, and it is a very kind of beefy watch, but more so on the thickness. The kind of the diameter actually is not bad at all. I think it has large measurements on paper because the case shape. So if you look at the case, it kind of protrudes right here, and that's kind of the point from where it gets measured. So that kind of in a way cranks up the size, but really it just comes to a point, and after that the vast majority of the watch is over here and here. So the measurements can be kind of deceiving. It really is same size as an SKX, if you ask me. So the SKX kind of looks a little bigger because it's got a thinner bezel, so the face is a little bit larger. So it kind of, if you look at them at a glance, it almost looks like the SKX is bigger, but that's because the bezels are thinner on it. But if we get some measurements here, so if we kind of look at just kind of the what you see measurements, about 42, SKX about 40 and a half. Did I get that right? Hang on, maybe make sure I'm going across a little harder on camera and just look at it. So yeah, so Seiko's about, the SKX is about 40 and a half. This one's about 41 and a half. So about 1 millimeter difference in kind of what you see essentially. Then of course, if you kind of take the traditional management of the case, is where you get the 44s going from here to here. But that's kind of I don't know, not a good way to represent this watch. So it does not feel big at all from that standpoint. Now obviously where it's really big is the thickness. I mean, it's a very beefy watch. I mean, 15 and a half millimeters. So it is a pretty chunky watch. So you feel it on the wrist, but it looks fine. It just kind of, feels a weight. This watch, actually, I would say my Speedmaster actually, I think wears larger, just because it is actually, what do we got here? The Speedmaster is 42, so a little bit smaller than kind of that one, but the Speedmaster has a really long lug to lug, 50, compared to 40. We got 40 or 40. Yeah, it's I guess about the same. But yeah, I guess they're about the same. Although I always that one kind of feels a little bigger. So really, it kind of, if you can wear a Speedmaster, you can wear SKX, you can easily wear this. Of course, Where the problem is going to lie is going to be in thickness. So you can't wear this. I should say you can't. You probably don't want to wear this with like a dress shirt because it is going to fit pretty snugly under a kind of a dress shirt or a cuff. So this is more kind of, for me at least, more of an outdoor watch, kind of what I dub as like a, you know, a barbecue watch. So this would be more of a social watch you kind of wear out. I love the color blue on it. You know, I was a little torn between this kind of new variant or kind of the older one that's got, you know, the Marinemaster on a dial. I personally love that it's got Marinemaster on a dial. I'm kind of annoyed that Seiko removed that. That's kind of what made the Marinemaster, is the words Marinemaster, you know. So I don't know. I wish they would have left it, but I've got plenty of black watches. You know, not plenty, but my kind of top shelf watches are black because I have the Speedmaster and I have the Pelagos. So I definitely didn't want to get a third black watch, so wanted the blue. So that's kind of how I ended up with this one. I was actually open to getting that green as well, but already had the green, so ironically didn't have much blue, so that's kind of what won me over to get this one. It is on the heavier side, so that's really the only kind of size concern I would probably advise people, is probably the weight as well. So if we look at the weight, let's change this to grams. Okay, so we're looking at 209 grams. So, you know, put that into perspective with like the Speedmaster, 152. Look at the Pelagos, 142. And then the SKX. Keep in mind that this has the strap code Jubilee, which is a little heavier than kind of what comes stock, but 166. So clearly it's a heavy watch. But needless to say, you know, you kind of get used to the weight. I'll do a quick wrist shot. So I have roughly about a 7-inch wrist. So you can kind of see, you know, on a 7-inch wrist. Yeah, it's not too bad on a 7-inch wrist. But as you can kind of see where it's gonna make up for is the height. So yeah, I've only had this for about a week, if even that, so I haven't really had too much playtime with it, but unfortunately, you know, November, so I'm not gonna get a whole lot of summertime use out of it yet, but looking forward to it. And I think it is going to be a very kind of eye-catching watch. I think if you know you want a watch that's going to garner attention, this is going to be it. It's going to really reflect the light. It's got the really high polish, Zaratsu polishing, which is, you know, like a mirror. If I can just kind of give it a little polish, I mean, you can kind of, I mean, this thing's going to just glisten in the sun, so it's going to be a very eye-catching watch. It is going to garner probably some conversations. You know, some people might be kind of surprised when you tell them it's a Seiko, but then again, you know, that's not, you know, for me personally, I don't really buy watches for the brand. I buy watches that I like. So, you know, I could, you know, probably got like a, you know, a tag or, you know, something a little bit more mainstream for this money, but again, that's not really what I'm after. I kind of watch, I have to like to watch, not so much just a brand. Just another kind of size comparison. If you're kind of looking at it upside down, we're kind of trying to get an idea against like the Pelagos. I would say it's pretty comparable to the Pelagos in terms of kind of appearance. You know, the Speedmaster kind of comes off looking bigger just because it has a really thin bezel. But that's kind of my my kind of what I call heirloom collection. And the only other watch I really would love to get one day, and you know, it's probably going to be a ways out, would be a Rolex, but not in a budget anytime soon. Would also love a Grand Seiko Snowflake, but probably not going to happen for a while either. So probably going to stick with these kind of 3 heirloom watches, and then I kind of have a couple of kind of what I call, just kind of, I want to say beaters, but affordables. So I'll do a state of the collection video later in the year, just to kind of see where everything is at. But that is all I had to kind of talk about on this one. I mean, there wasn't really much I can add. There's a ton of videos about these watches already. I just wanted to kind of share mine with you guys. All right, I'll catch you on the next one.